guys, it's Stephanie from My Porch Prints. Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be making a fun project. It's this accordion fold journal, and this is using our Heirloom Elegance collection. I'll put a link down below to these kits. And the fun thing about this is it's really simple, especially if you're a beginner. It's a no-sew journal, so there's no sewing involved, and it's just paper glued to paper, but it packs a lot of punch, and I think it looks really beautiful when you're finished. So we're going to cut some pieces out and get started putting this together. Okay, so to begin with, I printed some pieces from the Heirloom Elegance collection, and these are some of the papers from the Pages and Papers kit, and I printed them on both sides. I just chose some that I liked, and then I cut the white borders off, and then I printed some of the fussy cuts as well, and also some of the ephemera pieces. And to begin with, we're going to start with the papers, and what I want to do is determine the size of my journal, and I want it to be big enough to fit some of these ephemera pieces, and then a little bit of room to spare, because I wouldn't mind adding maybe some pockets and having these pieces kind of slip into those. So it has to be big enough that I can add, you know, a little bit extra for pockets. So I am looking at having it be, you know, about this tall. And so what I'm going to do is fold my papers at about that height, and I'm just, well, not fold them, I'm going to actually rip them at about that height, right about here. And it's okay if it's not perfect. In fact, I don't really want it to be. So I'm going to kind of vary the height a little bit, just like that. And then I'm going to do it with the next one as well. And the reason I'm doing this is because I like to give it a little bit of a kind of, I don't know what the word would be, shabby, kind of raggy look. I like the torn look. I feel like it just gives it some character. Okay, so I've got all of my pieces, and they're a little bit bigger on this side, a little bit smaller towards the end, but that's okay. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So what I'm going to do is overlap them just a little bit and glue them together. And it's going to make just a long strip. And I want my pieces to kind of match up so there's not too much, you know, overhang, you know, in the height. So this blue one's just slightly taller than this black paper, and I may want to tear that and make them match up a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see if that affects things later. All right, and then we'll just keep doing that until we have a nice long strip of papers. Okay, and now I'm going to again just use one of my ephemera pieces to kind of determine the size of my first fold. And I want it to be big enough, again, that I might be able to add like some pockets and things. So I'm looking at like right around here. That gives me some space on either side of this image. And I'm gonna line up that bottom, that flat straight bottom. And you can see that's a pretty good size, I think. All right, and then what I'm gonna do is just continue that fold back and forth, which is how we get our accordion fold. So, sorry, this is a really long strip. So I'm going to line up these edges just like this. And that one's a little bit longer. That's okay, it's not gonna affect things too much. And so it's a fan fold, back and forth, back and forth. And don't worry about where the lines meet, you know, the papers. It's okay if that isn't like on the fold. We're not shooting to have this, you know, fold on the lines where the papers meet. That's not an issue. Got a little tail back here. We'll see if that'll work for our purposes or not. But okay, so now you can see we've got our papers folded in an accordion fold or fan fold, whichever you want to call it. And this is going to make our journal. So each page will turn like this. and then you'll be able to flip it over and turn the rest of the pages. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and just crease those really nicely. Make sure they're good and creased. And, I can see that this side's lower. You can see the layers, you know, it's almost like looking at mountains in the distance. It's got these kind of layers to it. But if I use this side, which I originally intended for the front, you can't see those. So I think I'm going to flip it over and use this as the front of my journal. I'm trying to decide if this can become something like a little flip, maybe on this opposite side. So I'm going to leave it for now. We'll just fold that the other direction and leave that there for now. Okay, so this is going to be my cover, I think. And I need to choose an image that I want for the cover image, or I could make a collage. It's really, you know, you don't want to limit yourself too much. It's okay to try different things here. The only thing I want to think about is that this is going to turn like this, and then I'm going to flip it over and turn it like this. So I probably don't want too much hanging off the sides because they'll get smushed when I, you know, flip the page. So I think I want to keep things within the boundaries of the sides here. That's my goal anyway. Before I decorate, I'm going to think a little bit about the pockets. We've got these spare pieces of paper from when we tore this, and I think these could make some pockets. I don't think I will do any sewing at this point just because it's one extra thing to add, but it would look really cute if you wanted to, like, you know, pull your fan fold out so it's flat and go run it through the sewing machine and sew some pockets on. That could be cute. So I think I'm gonna just punch a little half circle out of the top of my pocket. And the good thing about this design is it's very forgiving, you know, with all the tattered edges and the kind of casualness of it. It doesn't have to be really precise. Okay, so I played with the cover a little bit off camera just to give myself some time to decide on a layout. And I think I like this. It's maybe a little busier than I was envisioning. I was thinking of more of like a focal point cover, but I kind of like the layers here, and I think layering is kind of the theme of this journal. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with it. So I'm gonna try to pick these layers off one at a time and get them back in the right order. And see if we can recreate this. Okay, so I think I'm liking this cover. And if you're thinking about layering your cover like this, I know it can be daunting. You're like, oh, I'm covering everything up, or oh, it looks weird, it's not fitting together right. One thing I like to do is try to balance things a little bit. So like have a focal image in the center and start with that. And then I put like maybe a big image in each corner. So I have kind of opposite corners. And then I think about layering in vertical and horizontal lines. So, you know, I might have something here, and then something here, and something here, and something here. And, you know, just kind of play around with it till you get the way you want it to look. I never feel like it's quite what I had in mind when I started, but you know, usually I can end up with something that I'm happy with. Now I'm feeling like this little space down here is feeling kind of lonely and empty, and luckily I didn't glue this butterfly all the way down, so I may add just a little lace or something, just a little texture down in this corner. Nicely. Okay, and so this is our cover, and then we're going to flip it open and we're going to decorate some more. So what I'm going to do probably is just decorate. You can follow along. I don't have a set plan for this. Mostly now it's just filling in the spaces, and so hopefully I'll give you some ideas as I go along. And before I get to decorating the rest of the journal, I did want to mention, so we have our cover and we have this little flap that I had left over here, and I think I'm going to make a little flip that goes on it. And I did want to mention also that the ephemera pieces from the ephemera kit, I flipped over and printed printable papers on the backs, and that's because I knew that when we opened our journal up, these would be showing on the back, and I just wanted to make sure that they weren't plain white. And you can do that with anything that you're using for this. I recommend printing on the front and the back. I didn't do it with the fussy cuts, and I kind of wish I had, because you can see that the white is showing here. So just something to think about, that both sides are going to be showing when we flip our journal over. This piece is a specimen card that comes with the ephemera kit, I believe. Okay, so I finished a few things off camera, but let's go ahead and take a look and see how this turned out. Remember that little flip on the front here? I just added these with a little bulb pin right here. And if you're looking for any of the items we use, there should be a link down below to our Amazon shop where we have a lot of the little items that we use. And it's fun because this isn't the end, it's just the beginning of the next side. And you can see why I printed on the back of my ephemera, because when you flip the pages, you can see it poking out the top. Okay guys, that's it for our accordion book. Let's pull it out and just take a quick look at how it looks when it's all unfolded. It's long. Okay, thank you so much for crafting along with us. Please remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future projects, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, bye.